I've always wondered what it would sound like if Madlib produced Nirvana, or if Alchemist produced System of a Down, or if the RZA produced Iggy Pop. And of course, there have been a lot of really good crossovers between rock and hip hop before, but still, they never quite merged what to me would be the best of both worlds, which is the feeling of the samples that you can't really get from any other genre on one hand, and the rhythm and energy of rock music. And it's a perfect mixture that I plan to come very close to. And I'm going to do that by creating in public. And the idea is to create a subgenre of sorts that kind of makes the perfect sound, the sound that I have in my mind. And I want to play you a piece that I've been working on, and I'll deconstruct how I put it together a bit later. Let's see. So it's clear what I'm going for here, right? So rock drums, bass. This is where the sample comes in. To me, like what I think Madlib or Alchemist maybe would have done. They were in the studio working with a rock band. Here it comes back in. Yeah, so that's what I have up until now. The way I started this song, this beat, is by finding this one sample, and I'll play it for you. It's from the first second I knew this is something I had to use. Like it's weird, it's kind of off, but at the same time it has some musicality to it that I really like. It's just raw. So what I did is I chopped it up. Let me see. Chopped it up and pitched it down because I just thought it sounded cool, and it takes off a little bit of the high end automatically, which kind of gives it a bit more space to add other elements to it. This is kind of how that sounds. Didn't do even any like kind of creative chopping. It's pretty straightforward. And then this is what it sounds like when you play that. Let me select it really quick. See, so I really love this. And then when I had this, I just knew if I find the right drums, this is gonna be really good. So the drums I came up with were these drums. And it started with this drum break that I got from this rock song. And this sounds pretty cool in itself, but when I started layering it, it just gave it a little bit more body. So I first added the kick, bit of compression, and then some snares layered on top of each other. Vocal sample. Wah. And then to top it off, some more hi-hats, give it a bit more high end. Yeah, so I really like that. And then when you add the sample and these drums together, this is what you get. Whoops. First need to get the sample right, and then So that's off to a good start, right? And then when you add bass to it, it has to be really good, because my goal is to make these types of beats sound like rock music or have the energy of rock music, but just not really use guitars. Because that would be a little bit too easy, and I kind of like merging samples, and that kind of leaves not too much space for guitars in my mind. So what I thought of was a lot of these Nirvana songs that I like usually have these small breaks or verses where the guitar is kind of low or it's not even there, and it's just drums and bass. And usually that bass is really distorted, and I really like that. So I tried to replicate that a little bit. This is what the bass sounded like without all the effects. Let me take them off. This is what it first sounded like. And you add a little bit of distortion. A little bit more distortion. And even a little bit more distortion. Which doesn't sound all that great on its own, but when you put it all together, this is what it sounds like. And I really like this. So when I had this, I knew, okay, now it's time for some extra elements. And what I always like is, especially when you think about Alchemist, these guys, especially Alchemist, he has like these electronic or vocal samples that kind of seem to fly in and out. And it's kind of makes it otherworldly, as if you're really being sucked into the music, if that makes sense. It just makes it way more, otherworldly, I would say is the right word. So this is the first sound I put on it. Little space effects. And then this is the second one. And this is when you put it all together. See, it leaves a lot of room for melody still. That's what I have in mind also. It's like just rock songs. Like you could actually make a really good rock song on top of this. Yeah, and there you have it. So this is kind of the stuff I have in mind. I have so many of these types of ideas in mind that I want to create, and kind of create my own little tiny subgenre, if you could even call it that. And yeah, until I have all those ideas out, I'll just keep chipping away.